We're live. Sheldon McBee, welcome.
Hey, how you doing, Eric? It's my pleasure to be here. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah, it's a pleasure. I've already enjoyed our conversation pre-recording. Really cool vibe to you, and yeah. So this is, thank you to EGYM for sponsoring this series. It's entitled "All Aboard: How to Conduct the Perfect Onboarding at Your Health Club or Gym." There's a little pun in there with "all aboard," trains, conduct. I don't know if people caught that, but it's
I
it's in
like it.
there.
I
Yeah,
like it.
choo choo, right? Anyway, on to it. Let's talk about you, Sheldon. So you are the head of Universal Athletic Club, right, in Pennsylvania. Tell us a little bit about you, your gym, kind of how you guys differentiate in your market, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah. Universal Athletic Club. We are located in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's a beautiful part of central Pennsylvania. So, any listeners out there who want to come through and check us out, we'd love to have you. It's a single site, family owned facility, and it's a for profit facility. And we would consider ourselves a higher end multi purpose facility. Our biggest differentiator in the marketplace is certainly family. We are family oriented. So, if you are someone who is you've got children. We've got an excellent experience for you. However, doesn't matter if you're child to young adult to Gen Xer or you are senior. There's programming we have for everybody. And if I could say the biggest thing that we do in terms of a differentiator in our area is that we cater to members with multiple different wellness and health and fitness solutions
Hmm.
at the highest level possible for the value of your membership. And we'd argue it's, as the best in the area as far as those things. And onboarding is probably one of the things that I'm really proud we do, the best at.
Awesome. Yeah, it's very evident, Sheldon, from the website. As soon as I took a look at it, I was like, family, right? Boom. It's
Mhm.
like right in your face. It's very evident. So obviously, that's very intentional what you guys do. And but the facility itself, like how big is it? What kind of services do you guys provide? Is it group training, personal training? Yeah, give us more insights on that.
Yeah, sure. So it's about 110,000 square foot facility. We have about 9,000 members. Interestingly, just before the pandemic, 14,000 members. It did drop down to nine after the pandemic, but revenue wise, recovered quite quickly because, as inflation started hitting its peak last year, we adjusted our rates accordingly. Our revenue recovered quite well, but we have a lot of members. It's a wide demographic of members that we have. We offer many different things. We offer group fitness. We've got five beautiful studios that offer everything from mind body experiences, cycling, boot camp style classes. We do the Les Mills programming across the board, about 100 classes a week.
Wow.
Over 2,000 check-ins a week in group fitness, which we love. Our small group training is where our biggest ancillary driver is currently. We do about $1.6 million in personal training a year in that space. And what's pretty cool is that about 80% of that is group based training. It's not private one on one. And so we dedicate about three major areas in the facility, each of which are about 1,500 to 2,500 square feet of space dedicated to that alone, including youth athletics, spa and salon. We do some digital nutrition programming, martial arts, huge, training area, obviously, and other, amenities that keep the club, driving. With the ones I mentioned are our biggest, drivers of member engagement.
Awesome. That paints a great picture. Okay,
Yeah.
so with onboarding, obviously, as you and I discussed, it's very important, right? It's a critical
Mhm.
thing for everything. So, why in your mind, when you think about onboarding, why is it so critical? Not just for the gym and the revenue numbers and making sure it's retention, but for the client experience, right?
Well, yeah. Well, we right now have to understand that, sometimes you'll have people who will come to the facility and they're considered what we call our 20 percenters, 10 percenters. They're pretty much fired up. They know what to do. They don't need a whole lot of hand holding. However, at a facility like ours, we don't always get that. We have a quite a large amount of prospects, leads who walk in the door, and it's a huge facility, and they're just unsure what to do, how to do it, and they want to do too much too soon. And anytime you're marketing, or if you're in marketing, you're in sales, the biggest thing we have to realize is that we are not essentially we are not like the end all be all. It's about the prospect. It's about the member. We have to meet them where they are and be a guide, more than a solution, we are a guide. And if we can't guide them in the beginning, they won't adhere to what we're serving them. So exercise is all about adherence, really. When it
Yeah.
comes to, well, any kind of health related initiative you do as a person is about adhering to it. And anyone who tries a new habit, it can be tough to stick to. So in the very beginning of buying a membership, when you onboard somebody and you're able to establish a habit quite early, well, then you increase the lifetime value of the member. I know I'm going into the revenue side of things, but without that, you just really cannot guide your new member into a lifestyle they can adhere to. And in my opinion, that is our job to do. I am not a big fan of providing a push, play, and go service where someone can weave in and out of. We want to provide a service where someone completely falls in love with the idea of what they're doing and adhere to the lifestyle. Has to come through the member onboarding process, which comes through guidance.
That's a really critical differentiator of the thought behind a guidance versus like coach or trainer or, even like admin. It reminds me, I was used to be in a mastermind group, and I was a little, I guess, nervous about being a business coach because, I'd only been in business for 9 years. And the guy said, he said something that changed my mind like really quick. And it was like, you don't have to be the guy who sits atop the mountain, who knows everything, who's done all, right? You're more like the Sherpa. You're kind of walking along with them on the path, helping them with things as they go. And that, like, similar to what you're saying, it's like that subtle mind shift of like, this is how we represent ourselves with the client and part of the journey and being a guide. I think that's really cool. It's a really nice differentiator. The next part that we always want to cover here with these is, where do you think, Sheldon, as an industry, that we've gotten it wrong with onboarding? Just collectively, not you specifically or anybody, but collectively.
Yeah. One aspect I think that we had to start figuring out quickly, and went wrong over the past few years, was that in order to be successful, you kind of have to go all in on some kind of a fitness or health or wellness regiment and get off the ground running. And we in the fitness industry did not figure out the importance of the art and science of behavior modification early enough. And I do believe that people on the front lines of integrating and onboarding members, even to this day, still have some work to do to close the gap on understanding the psychology of adhering to new changes in habits. And so that's some place where I think that we did go a bit wrong and could do and still have some room to get better at. Meeting the new client or new member where they're at, and not having sort of a one-stop shop solution for how I'm going to get you to on your feet without solution. And that is creating just kind of baby steps to success, and understanding that new member has to be involved with the process of what my future is going to look like 6 months from now. I should not be the unique driver that tells you how that's supposed to look once you sign up for our facility. You should be able to negotiate that process, have a say in that process. And that way, I feel like I'm owning this big investment I made in my health and in my fitness. So when I sign on the agreement, I feel like I'm helping making this decision instead of just purely being told what to do here, which is a mistake I think we have made in the integration process. Secondly, I feel as though that we also can do much better in finding ways to reward people for micro successes along the way as they begin to adhere to their fitness journey in the beginning. And recognizing people who have very small wins. It can't always be about, losing weight or getting stronger or even being better connected to the community. Simply by just walking in the facility should come with a lot of reward and recognition, and hitting milestones of usage is something that I think that we fail to do enough of earlier. And we did rely a lot on gamification recently with technology, which is still needed. But quite often gamifying a membership comes with exertion rewards, exercise rewards, instead of just walking in the door and making a micro progression to your health and in success in your health. So that's something that I think that needs, something we made a mistake doing for many years and now starting to figure out, as we're seeing a considerable rise in the behavior modification specialist, wellness coach, and seeing other programs that exist in that right now that build habits in order to make a new member successful.
Yeah, that's great. It reminds me of for a book recommendation for people who are listening. Fat Loss Happens on Mondays. It was something I read 10, 12 years ago. It's co-authored by Dan John. But it really gets into like those, how to change behavior. That's what it's about. Right. And like you said, it's like you sit down, you give the client options like, hey, here's 3 things that we could do. And you let them pick the one thing that, this is just an example, the one thing. So now they're like, oh, I invested in this, right? This was my choice. I'm not doing this because some random person told me to. Like, this is what I want to do. So that's a little bit, but there's a lot of different, obviously a lot of great books on habits and behavior change. So that's a really critical point. I really like that. So let's talk about your onboarding, what you guys do there, Sheldon. And I guess maybe let me start with this. Like, how long, when you look at the onboarding process, like how long is that? What duration is it? Is it 90 days? Is it 6 months? Like, what do you consider 30 days? Let's start there, and then you can tell us all about it.
Yeah, sure. And just to even back up a little bit, when we look at a member, we have a journey that we like to commit to, and in the beginning of the journey, it usually happens before they even sign an agreement with the facility, and we make these promises along the way that you're going to live a better life, you're going to have better quality of life, we're going to guarantee you results, and then here's exactly how it looks. So there's certain journeys that we try to put in our marketing ahead of time so that you know what you're getting into before you sign an agreement. That way, when it is time to become a member of the club, we can fulfill that and you can feel like, yes, they're delivering what they promised. So a lot of that comes with what you market and can we pre-frame the journey before they sign the agreement. Once someone does actually come to the facility, they do a tour, they check things out, they find a path that really works for them, they sign the agreement. Our agreement's a 12 months upfront. It's a 12-month agreement at first, okay? When we actually analyze usage and see how that dictates and impacts lifetime value of the member, we have a 12-week or 3-month window of hyper-focus. So when someone signs an agreement, they'll be the membership rep, they'll sign the agreement, and they are assigned to what we call a fitness concierge. Like a concierge in a hotel, it's the same idea.
Yeah, I love that.
The concierge will sit down with them. If they even go to this particular appointment, they will map out what their journey is meant to look like through a negotiation process. There's about 4 or 5 paths that you can kind of go down to help guide you through your first 3 months and then onward. So the member will sit down with that individual and they'll go through a needs analysis, the basic stuff, needs analysis, functional movement screen. And then from there, they will then pre-frame a journey that's specific to them. And there's one of a few different ways they can go. One method is, let's go with a small group training coach. You'll be with that particular coach for a minimum of 4 weeks. Now, this is normally to work with one of our small group trainers, you're going to pay upward of $200-$300 a month, just to do that. That is actually part of your member integration. You don't pay beyond your initial enrollment fee to have access to this. So they have a tremendous amount of guidance and accountability for that first month if they do that path. If they want to continue with it, then they could go ahead and agree to the biweekly billing to have access to training, or the trainer will provide them with programming to continue with, or the concierge will intercept them after 4 weeks and then give them ongoing program after that if they don't want to continue with small group training. Or they will be assigned a group fitness coach. One of our group fitness coaches will then guide them through which classes to take, how often to take it, and will have them do it in micro steps of increased volume, small, like over time, over a 12-week course. Or they will do, our EGYM. We just recently brought on EGYM, and we have dedicated staff who will then onboard them onto the EGYM with a training plan through that platform. Or the C1 will, the concierge, I should say, will then take them onto the floor and will provide them with periodized program that increases in volume steadily over time that's guided for them. One of these 4 or 5 paths is essentially what they do. And when we look at them, we look at their usage primarily over a 12-week period. And we look at a very large map of this. And we know we're doing well as far as a lead indicator of success if at least 70% of all the members who joined over the last 12 weeks are coming in the club at least one time. All right, at least once over the last week. 70% of the people who joined the last 12 weeks have come in at least once. And if we know we're doing that, if we're hitting that landmark, we are successful. Over a 2-week period, we look back 2 weeks. If 60% have come in at least once, we know we're doing well, because that has been shown to have a direct correlation to having 12 months or more of an active membership when we look at our data over the years.
Yeah, fantastic. And what tools specifically? I mean, you mentioned EGYM, of course, but when you like, what tools and technologies are critical to your onboarding process?
Yeah, so kind of like I mentioned before, we have all this. First of all, we have all this human capital that we use. I mean, we're very fortunate and blessed in that we have full-time staff who can manage this. But right now, we have a couple of different tools that we use. I mean, obviously, we have our in-member app. Our in-member app is able to create scheduling and programming inside the app for someone to use as a mobile device to track their actual check-ins. So there is that. We do use we do have MyZone. We're a MyZone facility. And so you have the option to opt in to get the MyZone. If you get the MyZone, we'll have staff who's able to engage you through that platform and do, different challenges and things of that nature to keep you engaged along the way. And we also, we also use Perkville. We're a Perkville club. And so members get some like extrinsic motivation to use the facility. So every time they check into the facility, they're earning their points, and they can earn up to $150 back in club rewards if they use the facility a certain amount of times over the course of the first 12 weeks of the facility. So they're earning back a lot of the dollar spent on the enrollment fee by just checking into the facility. And all these things are done through automations, So we have automated point systems. We do use MyZone if someone opts in. And we do have our human capital and our app to guide people through programming. That's the primary technology that we use right now. It does work quite well, but obviously we would like to consider ourselves a pretty progressive club, and we're exploring other ways to continue to dial that up. Through artificial intelligence, through some other personalized engagement tools that exist out there to help enhance our ability to engage a member. EGYM. I will mention EGYM. I mean, that right now has been a brilliant onboarding strategy for us, because that just took the thought process of what I do to exercise just out of it. I mean, the system literally uses a fob, sign in on the system. It'll tell you what to do, and it'll guide you through all your rep schemes and training plans without requiring a live in-person coach. But it did not replace or do anything to cannibalize our small group training, which has been a win for us. So we've been able to use that to bypass someone who joins with an agreement who does not want to do that initial concierge appointment. I don't need that. They're bypassing that to go straight to the EGYM orientation, getting set up, and using that as their guide to integrate them. And that's been able to help us really see a lot more check-ins in the first 3 months of membership sign up strictly from that. So that's been a great win for us as well.
Right on. Awesome. And I had to look up Perkville. Actually, I hadn't heard that before. So essentially it's a customer reward loyalty program. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. And it works through automation. So, it aligns with our member management system. So check in the club, get your points. If you hit certain landmarks of usage, you earn your points. If you use your MyZone and get X amount of MEPs on your MyZone, you're earning points. So they get constant extrinsic rewards for club usage, which helps with exercise adherence.
Awesome. Well, Sheldon, man, you know your stuff. It's really fun. I learned a couple new things. I've been in this industry for a while. So thank you so much for joining us. I know you have a really busy week and weekend coming up, but if people want to get a hold of you, they want to reach you, or they just want to learn more online about what you're doing, is there any place specific you'd like them to go?
Yeah, you can go check out our website, first of all, universalathleticlub.com. You can find me on social media through LinkedIn, Sheldon McBee. That is, my handle on Facebook and Instagram. I'm sorry, Facebook and LinkedIn. On Instagram, it's mcbee.sheldon, if you want to find me there. You can email me at sheldonm@universalathleticlub.com. I always love to interact with everybody and share best practices and learn from others as well. So, yeah. Yeah, appreciate you having me, Eric. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man. My pleasure. Absolutely. So, yeah, that's a wrap. Ladies and gentlemen, Sheldon McBee.
Thank you very much.